Have you ever settled into your favorite chair with a gentle sigh, only to feel that familiar flutter in your chest and wonder if your heart is keeping up with you? It's a thought that can sneak in on any day, especially when you're taking medication like amlodipine to help manage high blood pressure or chest discomfort. If you've ever doubted whether you're doing everything possible to protect your ticker, you're in the right place. Today, I want to share 5 things you should definitely avoid doing while taking amlodipine. Little habits or choices that can undermine all the good work your medicine is doing. We'll unpack the first 2 together right now, and I promise that with a few simple shifts, you'll feel more confident and in control of your heart health. Let's start with something that sounds almost too obvious to mention, yet it trips up more people than you'd think: missing your dose or taking it at wildly different times each day. You might think, well, if I remember in the afternoon instead of the morning, it's the same amount of medicine, right? Unfortunately, it isn't quite that simple. Amlodipine works by steadily relaxing the walls of your blood vessels, lowering your blood pressure in a gentle, continuous way. When you skip a dose or take it hours later than usual, you interrupt that steady flow. Your blood pressure can spike, increasing the strain on your heart and blood vessels. And that's precisely what amlodipine is meant to prevent. Think of it like watering a plant. If you pour a quart of water all at once and then wait a week to water again, the plant will thirst between showers. But if you give it a little each day, its roots stay healthy and strong. Your heart responds the same way to medication. The simplest way to avoid this pitfall is to tie your pill to an existing daily habit, perhaps right after brushing your teeth or alongside your morning coffee. You'll find that once it becomes part of the ritual, it's almost automatic. I remember my neighbor Helen, who used to juggle multiple pills at breakfast, and would often realize at noon she'd skipped her amlodipine. She began keeping her pill bottle on her bedside table and taking it the moment she woke. Now she's more consistent than ever, and her morning blood pressure readings have never been steadier. Now that we've covered the importance of timing, let's turn to something a bit less intuitive but equally critical: steering clear of grapefruit and its juice. It's a surprising interaction, one that's tripped up people on all sorts of medications, not just amlodipine. Grapefruit contains compounds that inhibit an enzyme in your digestive system, an enzyme that helps break down the medication before it enters your bloodstream. When that enzyme is blocked, your body absorbs far more amlodipine than intended, which can lead to an excessive drop in blood pressure. Suddenly you feel lightheaded, dizzy, or even faint because your arteries have relaxed too much, lowering your blood pressure below healthy levels. You might be thinking, but I love my morning grapefruit juice. Can't I just drink a small glass? Unfortunately, even a little can cause trouble. The interaction lasts for many hours, so it's not safe to assume that leaving a gap of time between your juice and your pill will help. If you've been enjoying grapefruit as a quick vitamin C boost, it's time to swap in other fruits: apples, pears, oranges, or berries, and maybe add a squeeze of lemon if you crave that tang. My friend George learned this the hard way when he added a midday grapefruit snack to his routine. Within days, he felt dizzy and nearly took a tumble in his kitchen. Once he switched to berries and whole grains for his mid-morning snack, the lightheadedness vanished, and his energy felt more reliable. By now, you're already reducing risk simply by taking your pill at the same time every day and cutting out grapefruit from your diet. Those first 2 don'ts may sound small, but they pack a big punch when it comes to protecting your heart. Consistency helps your body get exactly the dose it needs, and avoiding grapefruit keeps that dose from suddenly swinging too high and causing unwanted side effects. As you settle into these changes, you'll likely notice that your mornings feel smoother. No more frantic searches for the missed pill, no more wobbliness from an unpredictable drop in blood pressure. You'll gain a new sense of partnership with your medication, working together rather than at cross purposes. And because these tweaks are straightforward, they're easy to slip into your daily life without a lot of extra fuss. Now that we've explored why timing and diet matter so much when taking amlodipine, let's move forward and uncover the next 2 things you'll want to avoid. One involves a common kitchen staple that can sneak extra sodium into your meals, and the other touches on a very well-meaning activity that can sometimes backfire. These might surprise you, so stick around as we continue this conversation and empower you with the knowledge to keep your heart as healthy as possible. Your journey to a stronger, more resilient heart is just getting started. Have you ever settled into your favorite chair, feeling a bit lightheaded, and wondered if your heart was doing its job while you're doing yours? If you're taking amlodipine to manage high blood pressure or ease chest discomfort, you're already on the path toward a healthier heart. But there are a few simple pitfalls that can sneak up on you and undermine all that good work. In this video, we'll explore 5 key things to avoid when you're on amlodipine, starting with 2 that are surprisingly common. By the time we're done with these first 2, you'll have straightforward, actionable steps you can weave into your daily life, and you'll feel more confident that your medication is doing exactly what it's meant to do. Imagine your blood vessels as flexible garden hoses. Amlodipine gently relaxes those hoses so that blood flows smoothly without putting extra strain on your heart. But just like a hose needs a steady trickle of water to stay supple, your body needs a consistent flow of this medication to work its best. That brings us to the first don't. Don't miss doses or take them at wildly different times each day. You might think of your pills like items on a to-do list. If you check them off eventually, you're still covered. Unfortunately, amlodipine doesn't work that way. When you skip a dose or grab your pill hours later than usual, you interrupt that steady relaxation. Your blood pressure can climb back up, and your heart ends up working harder to push blood through stiffer vessels. Exactly what you're trying to prevent. Let me share a quick story. My friend Martha used to take her pills whenever she remembered, sometimes with breakfast, other times after lunch, and occasionally in the evening when she remembered her doctor's stern warning. She noticed she felt shaky on some afternoons and chalked it up to afternoon fatigue. But when she tracked her symptoms against her pill schedule, she saw a clear pattern. Her blood pressure spiked on days when she delayed her dose until later in the day. To fix this, she tied her pill to her morning routine. Now, the moment the kettle whistles for her tea, she takes her amlodipine. Within a week, her afternoon shakiness disappeared, and her morning blood pressure readings have stayed right where her doctor wants them. So here's the simple shift. Choose a daily anchor, brushing your teeth, eating breakfast, or pouring your morning coffee, and place your pill bottle right beside it. When you reach for your toothbrush or your mug, you'll see your medication waiting for you. Keeping a small alarm on your phone can help at first, but you'll soon find that the habit becomes automatic. Consistency is the secret to keeping your blood pressure stable and giving your heart the steady relief it needs. Now let's turn to the second don't, which involves something you may find downright delicious: grapefruit and grapefruit juice. You might imagine that fruit, especially one praised for its vitamin C, would be harmless or even helpful when you're aiming for a healthier lifestyle. But grapefruit contains natural compounds that block an enzyme in your digestive tract, responsible for gently breaking down amlodipine before it reaches your bloodstream. When that enzyme is blocked, far more of the drug gets absorbed, essentially giving you a much higher dose than you intended. That suddenly relaxed state in your blood vessels can lead to dizziness, flushing, headaches, or even fainting, because your blood pressure can dip too low, too quickly. This interaction isn't a small one. Even a single glass of grapefruit juice can interfere for hours, and eating a half grapefruit can have the same effect. My neighbor Robert was a daily grapefruit enthusiast. He loved the tangy sweetness each morning. When he added grapefruit to his routine, he started feeling woozy and unsteady, especially when he stood up quickly. He thought it was just aging catching up with him, until a pharmacist pointed out the grapefruit-amlodipine interaction. The very next day, he swapped in oranges and apples for his breakfast fruit, and within days his lightheaded spells vanished. He still enjoys a juicy breakfast, but now it's one that supports his medication rather than undercuts it. If you've never thought twice about that morning glass of grapefruit juice, now's the time to make a switch. Reach for a small bowl of berries, a handful of grapes, or a sliced apple instead. You'll still get that fresh fruit boost without risking an unintended overdose of your medicine. And if you ever find yourself at a restaurant or a friend's house where grapefruit is on the menu, it's perfectly fine to ask for another fruit option or a simple side of melons. By now, you've learned why skipping doses and indulging in grapefruit can inadvertently put extra work on your heart, even while you're trying to protect it. Making these 2 simple changes, taking your pill at the same time every day and cutting out grapefruit, will help amlodipine do its job the way it's supposed to. You'll find your blood pressure readings more predictable, your midday energy more reliable, and your dizzy spells a thing of the past. As you settle into these new habits, you'll likely notice small improvements right away. You might feel more stable on your feet, stay clear-headed through afternoon errands, and greet each morning with a quiet certainty that your heart is getting the steady support it needs. And the best part is, these tweaks are so simple, they hardly add any extra steps to your routine. Next, we'll explore 2 more don'ts that are just as common, and just as easy to avoid. One involves a surprising kitchen staple that can sneak extra sodium into your meals, and the other touches on a well-meaning activity that can sometimes backfire when you're on amlodipine. Stick around, because these insights could make a big difference in how your heart feels, and how confidently you move through each day. Have you ever settled into your favorite chair after a busy morning, only to feel a sudden flutter in your chest or a wave of dizziness that leaves you wondering if your heart is pulling its weight today. If you're taking amlodipine to help manage your blood pressure or ease chest discomfort, you've already taken a powerful step toward protecting your heart. But did you know that a few simple habits or missteps can make a big difference in how well that medication works? In this video, I'll walk you through 5 things you should avoid when you're on amlodipine, so you can keep your heart strong, your blood pressure steady, and your mind at ease. Let's dive right in with the first 2. Imagine your blood vessels as flexible garden hoses, gently widening to let water flow smoothly. Amlodipine works by relaxing those vessel walls, reducing the pressure your heart needs to pump against. But just like a hose needs a steady trickle of water to stay supple, your body needs a consistent flow of medication to keep those vessels relaxed. That brings us to our first no. Don't miss your dose or take it at wildly different times each day. You might think that if you remember in the afternoon instead of the morning, it all adds up the same. Unfortunately, it doesn't. When you skip a dose or delay it by several hours, your blood vessels start to tighten again, and your blood pressure can climb back up. That sudden change forces your heart to work harder, precisely what you're trying to avoid. I recall my friend Helen, who used to take her pills whenever she remembered, sometimes with breakfast, sometimes after lunch, and occasionally even at bedtime. She noticed she felt shaky and lightheaded in the afternoons, but didn't connect it to her inconsistent routine. Once she tracked her symptoms against her pill schedule, the pattern was clear. Whenever she delayed her dose, her blood pressure spiked and her heart felt the extra strain. To fix this, she tied her amlodipine to her morning coffee. Now, the moment her cup is filled, she takes her pill, and those afternoon shakes have vanished. Here's how you can do the same. Choose a daily anchor, a reliable part of your morning like brushing your teeth, turning on the kettle, or sitting down for breakfast, and keep your pill bottle in sight. When you reach for your toothbrush or your mug, you'll see your medication waiting for you. If you need an extra nudge at first, set a gentle alarm on your phone or a note on your bathroom mirror. Consistency helps amlodipine keep your vessels relaxed all day, so you can move through your morning errands or afternoon strolls without that worrying flutter or dizziness. Now let's talk about something that might surprise you: grapefruit. You may love that tangy glass of juice with your eggs, or perhaps you snack on half a fresh grapefruit as a vitamin-packed treat. But here's our second no. Don't eat grapefruit or drink grapefruit juice when you're on amlodipine. Grapefruit contains natural compounds that block an enzyme in your digestive tract, one that normally helps break down many medications, including amlodipine. When that enzyme is blocked, far more of your pill gets absorbed into your bloodstream, almost like taking a higher dose than prescribed. That extra surge can cause your blood pressure to drop too low too quickly, leaving you feeling dizzy, flushed, or faint. My neighbor Robert discovered this the hard way. He loved his morning grapefruit so much that he began adding it to his routine, right alongside his amlodipine dose. Within days, he felt woozy and even nearly lost his balance while reaching for a kettle. When his pharmacist explained the grapefruit interaction, he swapped in oranges and berries for his breakfast fruit, and within a week those dizzy spells were gone. Even a small amount of grapefruit, half a fruit or just a glass of juice, can trigger this effect, and it lasts for many hours. So it's safest to choose other fruits: apples, pears, a handful of berries, or a slice of melon. If you crave that citrus tang, a squeeze of lemon or lime in your water will give you a fresh zing without risking your medication's balance. By now, you've learned how 2 seemingly small choices, skipping doses and enjoying grapefruit, can unintentionally undermine amlodipine's work. Making these simple adjustments, taking your pill at the same time every day and cutting out grapefruit, helps your medication protect your heart just as it should. You'll likely notice more steady energy, fewer dizzy spells, and greater confidence in every step you take. Next, we'll explore 2 more things to avoid. One involves a surprising kitchen staple that can sneak too much sodium into your diet, and the other touches on a well-meaning supplement habit that can interfere with your medication. These insights could mean the difference between a good day and a great day for your heart. So stay tuned as we continue this conversation and empower you to live your healthiest life on amlodipine. Have you ever settled into your favorite armchair, ready for a quiet afternoon, only to feel a sudden flutter in your chest or a wave of dizziness wash over you? It can be unsettling to realize that even simple moments, pouring a cup of tea, walking across the room, or bending down to tie a shoelace, might leave you wondering how well your heart is keeping pace with your life. If you're taking amlodipine to manage high blood pressure or ease chest discomfort, you've already given yourself a powerful tool to protect your heart. But like any good tool, it works best when handled carefully. Today, we're going to explore 5 things you'll want to avoid when you're on amlodipine. Small habits or oversights that can unintentionally undermine the benefits of your medication. We'll begin with 2 of the most common pitfalls, and by the end of this segment, you'll have clear, actionable steps to weave into your daily routine so that your heart stays as steady and reliable as you need it to be. Let's start by talking about the power of consistency. Imagine your blood vessels as gentle garden hoses, designed to widen just enough to let water flow smoothly without extra force. Amlodipine works by relaxing the walls of those vessels, lowering the pressure your heart must exert with each beat. But just like a hose needs a steady trickle of water to stay supple, your body needs a consistent supply of this medication to keep your vessels relaxed. That leads us to our first don't. Don't miss your dose and don't take it at wildly different times each day. You might think of your pills like items on a checklist. Eventually, if you get them all checked off, you're covered. Unfortunately, amlodipine doesn't work that way. Skipping a dose or delaying it by several hours allows your vessels to tighten again, causing your blood pressure to climb and forcing your heart to work harder, the very strain you're trying to avoid. I remember my friend Helen sharing how she used to take her pills whenever she got around to it, sometimes with breakfast, often after lunch, and occasionally even at bedtime if she forgot earlier. She began noticing afternoon shakes and sudden waves of lightheadedness, but didn't suspect her medication routine. When she finally tracked her symptoms against her pill schedule, the pattern was unmistakable. On days when she delayed her dose, her blood pressure spiked, and her heart felt the extra burden. To fix this, she moved her amlodipine bottle to the spot where she pours her morning coffee. Now, as soon as the coffee pot starts to gurgle, she takes her pill, and those unsettling afternoon spells have vanished. Her heart rates are more even, and she greets each afternoon with steady confidence. You can create the same sense of reliability in your life by tying your medication to a daily anchor, something you never miss. It could be brushing your teeth, opening your newspaper, or that first sip of herbal tea. Keep your pill bottle within arm's reach of that anchor, and if you need a little extra reminder, a gentle alarm on your phone or a sticky note on your bathroom mirror can bridge the gap until it becomes second nature. This simple habit of consistency will help your body experience the smooth, uninterrupted benefit of amlodipine's vessel-relaxing action, day in and day out. Now let's move to the second don't, which involves something you might find downright delicious: grapefruit. I know, grapefruit is that tangy vitamin C-packed fruit many of us reach for at breakfast, especially when we're aiming for a healthy start to the day. But here's the catch. Grapefruit contains natural compounds that block an enzyme in your digestive system that normally helps break down amlodipine before it enters your bloodstream. When that enzyme is inhibited, far more of the drug gets absorbed, essentially turning your prescribed dose into a much larger, unintended dose. The result can be a sudden, excessive drop in blood pressure, leaving you feeling dizzy, flushed, or even faint. This interaction is surprisingly potent. Even a small amount of grapefruit, half a fruit or a glass of juice, can cause trouble, and the effect can last for many hours. So timing your medication around grapefruit won't solve it. My neighbor Robert discovered this the hard way. He loved his morning grapefruit juice so much that he'd have a glass alongside his blood pressure medication. Within a few days, he experienced recurrent bouts of lightheadedness whenever he stood up quickly, and one morning he nearly lost his balance getting out of the shower. A pharmacist friend explained the grapefruit-amlodipine interaction, and Robert immediately swapped out grapefruit for other fruits: apples, berries, and oranges. Within a week, his dizzy spells disappeared, and he still enjoys his morning fruit without risking an unintended overdose of his medication. If you've been accustomed to starting your day with grapefruit, now's the time to switch things up. Choose alternatives that don't interfere with your medication: apples, pears, grapes, or a handful of mixed berries. If you crave that citrus tang, a slice of lemon or lime in your water will give you a refreshing kick without compromising your heart health. By making this simple dietary adjustment, you'll ensure that your amlodipine dose remains exactly what your doctor prescribed, keeping your blood pressure balanced and your heart beating smoothly. So far, we've covered how taking your dose consistently and avoiding grapefruit can help amlodipine maintain its gentle, steady support for your blood vessels. These 2 adjustments alone can reduce episodes of dizziness, shakiness, and erratic blood pressure readings, giving you a solid foundation of confidence in your heart's performance. And the best part is, these changes are so simple that they slip seamlessly into your everyday life. Once you've made them habitual, you'll likely notice your energy feel more stable and your afternoons free from those unexpected fluttery moments. In our next segment, we'll explore 2 more don'ts that may surprise you. One involves a common kitchen staple that can sneak too much sodium into your diet, and the other touches on a well-meaning supplement habit that can inadvertently interfere with your medication. These little insights could mean the difference between a good day and a truly great day for your heart. So stick around, because the path to optimal heart health on amlodipine is just getting started, and you deserve to feel as strong and steady as possible every step of the way.